Hi everyone, welcome to ChinesePod. My name's Willem.
Hi everyone, this is Fee and you're joining us for an elementary lesson here at ChinesePod.
So today we're going to teach a very useful situation and it happens quite a lot in the ChinesePod offices.
Every lunchtime we have to decide where we want to go. Should we go to that restaurant? No, let's go to that restaurant. I don't really like that one. That one's a bit dirty, a bit small, a bit this, that, and the other.
So we're going to learn how to describe places and also really pinpoint a place that you've been to before.
And very importantly, we're going to learn a really useful sentence structure. 有 something. Now, this is putting two adjectives together. So it's not only dirty, but it's also, it's it's dirty and small. It's delicious and cheap. So we're going to learn how to make those sentences in Mandarin today.
So are there any key words we need to learn before starting?
So first I'm going to highlight something that's probably a little bit more specific, and that is the top of the lane or the entrance of the lane, and that is 巷口. 巷口.
Okay, so 巷口.
That's right.
巷 is an alley or like a small lane, and then 口 is it's a mouth, but it means entrance.
And then number 2, you should probably learn 脏. 脏.
So this can be described of many people's bedrooms, and it can mean kind of dirty or grubby.
And then, today we're talking about restaurants, so 饭馆. 饭馆.
So there's a few ways to say restaurant, but today we're going to be talking about 饭馆.
All right, well, let's listen to today's dialogue.
我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭，好吗？
那家饭馆又小又脏，我不太喜欢。
可是我觉得他们的菜又多又好吃。
我们每次去我都吃不完，去别家嘛。
哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃，又要舒服，你决定吧。
过个马路去吃兰州拉面吧。
好吧。我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭，好吗？
那家饭馆又小又脏，我不太喜欢。
可是我觉得他们的菜又多又好吃。
我们每次去我都吃不完，去别家嘛。
哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃，又要舒服，你决定吧。
过个马路去吃兰州拉面吧。
好吧。
All right, well, let's start with the translations. 我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭，好吗？
How about we go to the restaurant on the corner?
我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭，好吗？
How about we go to that restaurant on the mouth of the road and we go eat there?
那家饭馆又小又脏，我不太喜欢。
That restaurant is both small and dirty. I don't really like it.
那家饭馆又小又脏，我不太喜欢。
That restaurant is a little grubby and also quite small. I don't really like it.
可是我觉得他们的菜又多又好吃。
But I think their food is both lovely and there's lots of it.
可是我觉得他们的菜又多又好吃。
But I think they have a lot of dishes and it's all very good.
我们每次去我都吃不完，去别家嘛。
Every time we go, you never finish. Let's go to another place.
我们每次去我都吃不完，去别家嘛。
Every time we go, I never finish. Let's go to another place.
哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃又要舒服，你决定吧。
Which place? Every time you go, you want both a comfortable environment, you want good stuff to eat, you decide.
哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃又要舒服，你决定吧。
Which place? You want both good food and comfortable, you decide.
过个马路去吃兰州拉面吧。
Let's just cross the road and go eat some Lanzhou pulled noodles.
过个马路去吃兰州拉面吧。
Let's just cross the road and go have some nice noodles.
好吧，
Okay,
好吧。
how about that?
好，那我们来讨论今天的对话。Let's discuss today's dialogue. All right, let's start from the top of the dialogue. We hear 我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭好吗?
Okay, so in the intro we described 巷口 as the entrance to a mouth.
Entrance to a mouth? An entrance to a lane.
You could also talk about a road. A road's bigger than a lane, so what would we say?
路口 Gwilym, 我们在路口见吧.
Okay, Gwilym, we'll meet at the crossroads or the corner.
So, sometimes you have like a T-shaped road.
T-junction.
Right? A T-junction, right? So that top of it it's like the mouth of the road.
Yeah. And at the mouth of that road, there is a nice restaurant.
有一家饭馆. 家 is the measure word for frankly most businesses, specifically for restaurants. So, 我们去那家饭馆. 饭馆.
Right, so 饭馆 is the word for a restaurant. There are other ways to say it. Any other ways to say restaurant?
Yes, of course, there's other ways you can say restaurant. Now you could say 餐厅, or you can say 餐馆.
Okay, so now, like, looking at this sentence for an English speaker, it seems a bit strange because let's go one for one. Let's go to the corner.
Top of the road.
That restaurant to eat food. Now, in English, I would probably say, let's go... I don't know what I say.
You'd be like, let's go eat at that restaurant at the top of the road, right? Let's go eat at the restaurant at the top of the road. You always say the thing you're doing first, and then you specify the location. Whereas in Mandarin, it's the complete opposite. So imagine your mind's eye. If you're trying to picture somewhere, the first thing you do is you picture that place, right? So it's that kind of logic that you see in Mandarin. So you go, you picture that place, you go, okay, let's go to there first, and then there's that restaurant.
And also in Chinese, the biggest place always goes at the start. When you're saying your address, you name the country before you name your little house. So like in this, let's go to that location and do something there.
Exactly.
Whereas in English, you might be like, let's go do something there.
Now that suggestion was immediately turned down. And what was the reason for that?
It was both small and dirty.
So we hear 那家饭馆, that restaurant, 又小又脏. And here is the key kind of structure that we want to show you guys today.
Okay, so yo. Yo. It looks like that. That's a fourth tone, and you basically put one yo at the start, you put an adjective, you put another yo, and then you put another adjective. In this case, it is small
小
and dirty.
脏又小又脏. Now these two adjectives need to kind of be in the same category, right? You can't say it's dirty but so good. It doesn't work in Mandarin. You can't say 又脏又好吃. It's an oxymoron, right? It has to be like it should be 又好吃又便宜, right? It's delicious and cheap.
Yeah,
so it's either two positives or two negatives, right? You can't mix and match.
Yeah, it just really emphasizes how good or how bad something is.
Exactly.
Okay, Fee, how about you describe your watch?
又贵又难用.
Okay, so that's a negative thing. It's both expensive and difficult to use. Now, if you wanted to say that it was a lovely watch, how would you say that?
又好用又方便.
So both easy to use and very convenient.
That's right. So later on in the dialogue, we see this structure repeated. While one person thinks it's not only is dirty and small, the other person actually thinks that they have the quantity is quite large, right? They offer you a significant amount of food, and it's quite delicious. So we hear 他们的菜又多又好吃.
Okay, you could translate this in two ways. You could say their food is both plentiful and lovely, but you could also say that restaurant has a lot of choices and is lovely.
Because 菜 can mean a dish, but it can also mean the food you're actually eating. So this sentence is open to interpretation, right? At this point, we don't really know because we haven't been to that restaurant with you guys. So we just have to guess. It's either quantity or it's the amount of dishes that they offer.
Now, it sounds awesome. There's lots of food and it's all very good. What is the problem?
Well, the problem is if there's lots of food, sometimes you just can't finish it all. 你吃不完，吃不完.
cannot finish. So you've got lots of food in front of you, you just can't finish it all.
我吃不完
And today we learned that every time I go, I can never finish it.
So we're dealing with extremes, right? Every single time that I go, I never can finish. 我每次去都吃不完. So this 每 and 都 are highlighting the fact that every time 每 I go 都吃不完, I can never finish it. 我每次去都吃不完.
Now, Fiona said, every time I can never finish. But do doesn't have to be never. It's just highlighting an extreme of some sort.
Yeah.
So how about a positive example?
Okay,
Every
yeah.
time...
So we've looked at the negative and now we're flipping over to the positive side.
Okay, so every time I go to the swimming pool, I'm always very happy.
我每次去游泳都很开心. 我每次去游泳都很开心.
So she translated it as every time I go swimming, I'm always very happy.
That's right.
Okay, so you've expressed that you don't want to go there, but I don't have any more places to offer you. So I kind of say, then which place?
Exactly. 哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃又要舒服.
Okay, so the start of that sentence, we see a question word, which is na, which means which. So then which one?
Which one?
You want both comfortable, the word for comfortable?
舒服舒服.
So I would translate this as comfortable, but it could also be just a nice atmosphere. Because if you're talking about a restaurant, you wouldn't be necessarily talking about how the seats are,
Comfort.
but just how you feel in general.
Yeah.
The atmosphere.
So it's more the atmosphere, the ambiance.
And what's the other good thing about it?
No, the other quality that they're looking for, not the other good thing about the restaurant. It's like you also want it to have a good atmosphere, and you also want it to be delicious. So what do you want? You decide. You're the one that's listing all these requirements. So you decide. 你决定. 你决定.
So going back to the yo something, that's the whole point of this class.
Key point.
It doesn't just have to be adjectives. You can expand the words. So in this one, it is what?
又要好吃又要舒服. So you also want it to be delicious, and you also want it to have a good atmosphere. Now this structure is often presented when you're like, so what do you want? You want A, B, C, and D. So what do you really want?
So
Right.
like not only that, but you also want
Yeah.
this. And it sounds like it's very like balanced. There's like 3 or 4 characters on this side and 4 characters on this side.
Yeah.
And in the previous example, in the second line, you have 2 characters, 有小, and then 2 characters here.
有脏. So remember, Chinese structures like this, you're always looking for symmetry, right? If you have 3 characters in the front, you should have 3 characters in the back. If you have 1 character, you should have 1 character in the back. Now, sometimes that doesn't quite work, right? So if you find you want to list 2 different things, like 2 different adjectives, one that's 1 character and one that's 2 characters, always put the 2 character at the back.
Okay, so at the end, a good example is in the third line, where we say it is the food is both
又
plentiful.
多又好吃.
So 好吃 is 2 characters. Number 1, you could consider that as one like unit, but also because it's got 2 characters, you put it at the end.
Back. So, Guillem, how would you say that restaurant is comfortable and big?
那家饭馆又舒服又大.
Ah, see? I tricked you there.
Yeah, because
Which order should it be?
舒服is 2 characters, it should have gone at the end. And so, as a native, does that just sound wrong or weird?
It's not wrong. Of course you will be understood. But, learning a language is also learning kind of how it feels, how it sounds, kind of the unwritten rules, as it were. I mean, it's not technically wrong, but it just doesn't sound that right. So you would say, 那家饭馆又大又舒服.
Okay, good to know. Okay, well, one of them has a moment of inspiration, and they say, let's cross the road and go eat some lovely pooled noodles from Lanzhou.
Yeah, they say, 过个马路. Just cross the street, and then we'll go eat Lanzhou 拉面.
So Lanzhou is a capital city, and it's very famous for its beef noodles.
Now, the special thing about Lanzhou La Mian is that it has no soy sauce, so it's a clear broth. You guys should Google it. It's very, very delicious.
And also, pay attention to the tones of la mian. It's not spicy noodles, which would be la mian. It's la, which means pulled. So
just imagine when you're pulling dough, it goes la. It's like a straight thing, right? La mian, la mian.
Now, when they say, "How about we cross the road?" there is a ge, 过个马路. What's this ge doing there?
Now, this ge is added to soften the tone, right? You can say 我们过马路. 我们过马路, let's cross the road. But if you want to soften the tone, be like, hey, let's just cross the road, yeah? 我们过个马路. 我们过个马路. That ge kind of is like 一下下, as that like, oop, that kind of feeling, right? So if you want to say, how do you say to have food? Let's go eat food.
吃饭.
Yeah. So if I'm like, hey, 郭总, do you wanna go have lunch? I can say, 我们去吃个饭.
吃个饭.
吃个饭.
吃个饭. And I've heard it used with the toilet. 我上个厕所.
我上个厕所.
Let's go to the toilet.
That's a bit weird. So generally speaking, ge can be added behind a verb to lighten the tone, right? Let's grab a bite to eat. 我们去吃个饭, right? 我们去吃饭 is like, let's go have a meal, right? But if I say, 我们去吃个饭, it's like, let's go grab a bite.
Or how about let's go grab a coffee?
我们去喝个咖啡.
Or I'm just going to go park the car.
我去停个车.
And I'm just going to pop to the toilet.
我去上个厕所.
Okay, so there's lots of like high use words or phrases, and it just makes it sound really conversational.
Now, we've covered quite a lot of useful sentence structures, very key sentence structures at an elementary level, as well as some interesting vocabulary. Now, if it's been a bit much and you're like, I want a bit more practice on those structures, don't worry. Just rewind the video, go back and check it out. And if you're cool with listening to the dialogue one more time, let's go straight ahead and do that.
我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭，好吗？
那家饭馆又小又脏，我不太喜欢。
可是我觉得他们的菜又多又好吃。
我们每次去我都吃不完，去别家嘛。
哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃，又要舒服，你决定吧。
过个马路去吃兰州拉面吧。
好吧。我们去巷口那家饭馆吃饭，好吗？
那家饭馆又小又脏，我不太喜欢。
可是我觉得他们的菜又多又好吃。
我们每次去我都吃不完，去别家嘛。
哪家呢？你吃饭又要好吃，又要舒服，你决定吧。
过个马路去吃兰州拉面吧。
好吧。
Now, in the dialogue, they were kind of saying, you want not only a lovely environment, but you also want good food. Now, if I were going to a restaurant, I would expect it to be both comfortable and nice food. So what's your thoughts?
I think being half Western, half Eastern, I would say definitely the two cultures are very different expectations when it comes to dining. I feel like the Western dining experience is about, going out. It's an event
it's
to
a
go
ceremony.
It's to go enjoy yourself. Whereas I feel like here in the East, especially in China and Taiwan, good food's good food. Honest good food doesn't need fancy interior decoration.
Especially what they have is beef noodles, essentially. And that kind of restaurant will be pretty much bright fluorescent lighting, small red stalls, tissue, kind of dirty, but the food is excellent. So you'll be like bustled up against a businessman, a worker. Everyone just goes there to eat.
Yeah, I think, if you haven't made your way out to the East yet, that first dining experience might be quite a culture shock. And also don't judge a book by its cover. If you see a restaurant, it's a bit dingy and you're like, what? Why are there people queuing for it?
They're saving their money in the bank. They're not spending it on like wooden floors.
Exactly. Some of these restaurants might look so dingy, but they will make so much money because they have such a high turnover. And the important thing is good food. Give me an honest bowl beef noodles any day over some fancy sofa.
And like before, I used to remember going to a restaurant. We called it the cockroach restaurant because you might think that was a bad place, but actually it made awesome food. But whenever you were eating, you would see something crawling up the wall.
Anyway, it was nice, I promise you. We'll recommend that restaurant next time you guys.
Okay, well, we hope you found this video useful, and we'll see you guys next time.
好，那我们就下次见，再见。
再见，high five.